Hi guys, hello, welcome back. Grab your tea, grab your coffee, grab whatever emotional support snack you are currently using to survive adulthood. Because today we are diving into something that I swear nobody asked for. But once you hear it, you are going to wonder why these stories ever existed in the first place. Fairy tales. Not the Disney ones. Not that, oh, that's kind of dark, but still cute Grimm's ones. No, no, no. We are going into the stories that got buried. The one that folklore collectors wrote down only once and then went, yeah, maybe we don't read this to children. These are the fairy tales that feel like you accidentally clicked on the wrong side of YouTube at 3 a.m. Alright, let's begin with one of my all-time favorite creepy but actually historically real stories. And surprise, it's not even from the Grimms. This one comes from 17th century Jewish folklore, and if you are ever seen Corpse Bride, this is where the inspiration came from. Let's get into it. It's called The Finger, historically retold across Eastern Europe, including areas of modern-day Poland, but it's not a Polish origin tale. Okay, picture this. A young man is out in the woods practicing his wedding vows, alone, at night. Because apparently in folklore nobody has ever heard of maybe don't wander into a forest after sunset. He is pacing around, rehearsing lines like he is auditioning for a medieval Bachelor episode, and while practicing, he picks up what he thinks is a stick shaped like a finger. You know, just forest things. He laughs, slides his wedding ring onto the finger, and recites the vows he plans to use at his actual wedding the next day. Cute, right? Except it's not a stick. It's not a twig. It's not even a weirdly shaped root. It's a real skeletal finger sticking out of the ground. And the moment the ring clicks into place, the earth opens. The woman rises, wrapped in her burial shroud, her body covered in soil, and she says the one line every man fears more than taxes. You have taken me as your wife. This is the original Corpse Bride. And here's the part that's actually recorded in the folklore. She follows him everywhere. She's not attacking him. She's not a monster. She just believes, truly believes, that someone finally fulfilled the vow stolen from her in life. The man absolutely loses it, runs straight to the synagogue, bursts into a gathering of rabbis and villagers like, "Hi, yes, hello, I accidentally married a dead woman. Can someone fix this, please?" And the corpse bride? She calmly walks in behind him and says, "He placed a ring on my finger. He spoke the vows. I am his wife." Now imagine you are the actual living bride. You are in your wedding dress. Your groom shows up screaming with a corpse behind him claiming she's the real wife. This is why wedding planners get paid the big bucks. So, what happens? Here's the verified ending. The rabbi studies the situation because folklore rabbis were basically judges, therapists, and supernatural negotiators in one. And he says, the dead cannot claim the living, meaning a marriage only counts if both parties are alive. And a vow spoken to a corpse isn't legally binding. Placing a ring on a dead finger does not create a marriage. And just like that, the corpse bride's claim is invalid. She lowers her head, heartbroken, not angry, not violent, and she returns to her grave. No revenge, no haunting. Just this eerie, tragic moment as the earth closes back over her and everything goes silent again. Moral of the story? Officially, nothing was written. Unofficially, don't pick up random fingers in the forest. Okay, next I have a story that is called The Three Snake Leaves. It's from Brothers Grimm and it was first published in 1812. Alright, buckle up because this fairy tale feels like it was written by someone who wanted to explore every possible red flag in a relationship in under 10 minutes. So here we go. We start with a young poor man, super average, nothing special, who somehow wins the heart of a princess. Cute, right? Wrong, because this princess has one teeny tiny condition before agreeing to marry him. If I die first, you must be buried alive with me. Yes, you heard it right. She won't marry anyone unless he agrees to be sealed into her tomb the moment she dies. No remarriage, no second chances. Just come die with me. And for reasons unknown to all mankind, he says, sure, baby, sounds good. So they get married. They are supposedly happy. And then, oh, look, she gets sick and dies. According to their very healthy marriage contract, he is thrown into the underground burial chamber with her. He is given a little wine, some bread, candles, and zero therapy. While he's sitting there, slowly realizing that this was the worst relationship decision of his life, a snake slithers into the tomb. He panics, kills it. Because, yeah, when you are trapped in a stone vault with your dead wife, the last thing you need is bonus wildlife. Then a second snake appears. This one, instead of attacking, carries 3 magical leaves in its mouth. It lays the leaves over the dead snake, and the snake comes back to life. Our guy goes from depressed to scientist mode immediately. He thinks if these leaves bring snakes back, maybe they can bring her back. Honestly, good for him for connecting the dots under extreme pressure. He places the leaves on the princess's face. Her color returns, she opens her eyes and she sits up and boom, she's alive. Great ending? Absolutely not. Because the second this woman gets resurrected, she realizes something. She no longer likes him at all. She suddenly decides he is beneath her. She regrets marrying him and she starts secretly seeing someone else, the ship's captain who's supposed to bring them home. Yes, she gets resurrected and immediately cheats. Eventually, she and the captain make a plan to get rid of her husband for good. They lure him onto the deck of the ship, wait until he's not paying attention, and literally throw him overboard. Bye! But, plot twist, he kept the 3 magic snake leaves in his pocket. Fishermen pull him out of the water alive. He uses the leaves on himself, recovers, and reports the whole murder attempt to the king. The king listens, pays attention, and says the medieval equivalent of, "Oh, absolutely not." The princess and the captain are punished in the classic Grimm style. They are placed into a sailboat and set adrift to die. And that's how it ends. No happy ever after, no reunion, no moral that makes sense. Just magical resurrection, attempted murder, betrayal, floating coffin boats. Truly a date night story. The next story is called the Juniper Tree. It's from Grimm Brothers and it's one of the darkest verified fairy tales ever recorded. So after the whole accidental marriage to a corpse situation, you'd think folklore would give us a break, right? No. Folklore said, "Oh, you thought it was unsettling? Hold my juniper wine." This next one is a German tale collected by the Brothers Grimm, and it is honestly one of the darkest, most what the hell were kids reading stories ever printed. And yes, every detail I'm about to tell you is historically accurate. Let's begin. There's this couple who desperately wants a child. Classic setup, very innocent. One winter, the wife is outside peeling an apple under a juniper tree. She accidentally cuts her finger, and when the blood hits the snow, she says the kind of sentence that immediately tells you this story is not going to end well. If only I had a child as white as snow and as red as blood. Foreshadowing, anyone? 9 months later, the wish comes true. She gives birth to a beautiful boy and then dies on the spot. No breathing room, no dramatic pause. Baby enters. Mom exits. She's buried under the same juniper tree, and eventually the grieving father remarries. Enters stepmother. And this woman becomes the blueprint for every evil stepmother stereotype that ever followed. She has a daughter of her own and despises her stepson, mostly because he is the rightful heir. And one day, while the father is away, the boy comes home hungry. She smiles and says, "Reach into this chest, I have apples." And the moment he leans in, she slams the lid down. Clean decapitation. Yes, this is still technically a children's story. She panics, props his head back on his neck, and sits him upright at the table, like a horrifying Victorian doll. And then turns to her own daughter and says, "Look what you have done. Clean this up before your father gets home." And the daughter, thinking she actually caused the death, is sobbing, trying to fix it by cooking her brother into a stew. When the father returns, the stepmother serves the meal with a straight face. He eats it. He literally eats his own son. And the Grimm brothers published this with zero hesitation. But folklore loves justice, and the story delivers. After the meal, the daughter gathers the boy's bones and buries them beneath the juniper tree. And the moment the bones touch the earth, the tree starts shaking. A warm wind blows, a bright mist rises, and a magical bird appears, the spirit of the murdered boy, transformed and glowing. The bird flies around the village singing a song that straight up exposes the murder. Who did it? How? Why? Everything. The villagers love the song so much they give the bird gifts. A golden chain, a pair of red shoes, and a massive millstone. The bird returns home, drops the chain around the father's neck, places the red shoes on the sister, and then circles above the stepmother and drops the millstone. Instant cosmic justice. When the dust settles, the bird transforms back into the boy, alive and unharmed. Father, daughter, resurrected son, they all embrace, and that's the end. Which is honestly the only heartwarming moment in the entire fever dream. Okay, if you thought accidentally marrying a corpse and being slow cooked by your stepmother were weird, folklore is like, sweetie, sit down. I'm not done with you. The next one is from the Brothers Grimm, but it's one of their lesser known tales, kind of like Snow White's strange cousin. It's called The Glass Coffin, and yes, the title is already concerning. So, we start with a humble tailor. Cute guy, skilled, minding his own business. He's wandering through the forest, because everyone in these stories just casually takes long, dangerous walks. When, suddenly, a storm hits. He finds shelter with an old hermit who warns him about strange things happening nearby. But naturally, the tailor's like, "Okay, thanks for the spooky foreshadowing, Grandpa," and goes right to sleep. At night, the ground shakes. Something huge stomps by the hermit's hut. The old man panics, and the tailor, being a normal, curious human, follows the noise into the woods. That's when he finds it. A giant, crystal-clear coffin lying in the middle of a field. Inside is a young woman, fully alive, awake, and just casually trapped like she's in the world's weirdest IKEA display. She can't move, can't speak. She can only look at him, which somehow makes this 10 times creepier. Suddenly, a giant stag charges into the clearing, like a full monster-sized deer straight out of a medieval fever dream. The tailor grabs the nearest weapon, a sword someone left there because plot reasons, and manages to kill it. The moment it falls, the glass coffin shatters. The woman steps out, completely fine, not a scratch, and explains that she's a princess cursed by a wicked sorcerer who was trying to force her to marry him. Her refusal meant eternal glass prison. His revenge was turning her brother into that monstrous stag the tailor just killed. Yes, the stag was her brother. And this poor tailor had no idea he was fighting a cursed prince. But here's the twist. Killing the stag breaks the sorcerer's spell entirely. The stag transforms back into a man. The sorcerer loses his power, the princess is freed, and the tailor? He is suddenly the hero of an entire kingdom, kisses the girl, and the story ends with "and they lived in joy and honor to the end of their days," which is German fairy tale language for "we put you through emotional chaos, but here's a cookie." Altogether, so yeah, these are the fairy tales people used to read to their kids. Bedtime stories. Imagine being 7 years old, tucked in with your stuffed bear, and your parents casually say, "Tonight's story is about a corpse bride, a cannibalistic stew, and a girl trapped in a glass coffin guarded by her stag brother. Sleep tight." Folklore is wild. It's dramatic, it's chaotic, and every single one of these tales survived because they tapped into something human. Fear, grief, justice, transformation. And maybe that's why we can't stop reading them. If you want more creepy, rare, why did adults think this was okay for children fairy tales? Just tell me, because I have dozens ready to go. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, don't touch weird rings in the forest, and if you hear scratching under a juniper tree, maybe don't investigate. See you in the next one.